Three, two, one. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Vivid Voices podcast episode, Season 3 Echoes of Experience. Let's kick off this episode by going down memory lane to appreciate and acknowledge our happy childhood memories. The people I have in the panel for this episode is Honey and Rosanna, who will be sharing a few of their own life moments and experiences with me. Hi, Honey, Rosanna, ladies. Welcome back to Vivid Voices podcast, and I hope you're ready to bear your heart out to our viewers.
Hello.
Absolutely. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
We're doing good and happy birthday, Latricia.
Thank you. Birthday technically is tomorrow, but I'll take it as an early birthday greeting.
Birthday to you. Okay.
We can sing later, maybe. But let's start off with our first question. If both of you are ready. All right. So, who would like to go first?
Honey.
Honey.
I've been voluntold.
Honey is excited to start off our podcast, and I appreciate that really much. So, Honey, my question for you is, what is a memory that instantly makes you smile, no matter how much time has passed?
Thank, thanks, Latricia, for the question. You see, I don't normally ponder too much upon very extremely happy memories because I think most of my memories are pretty decently happy. So sometimes it's very hard to choose one or the other. But if I really have to pick one at this current moment, is that particular moment when my daughter started saying "mama." I can't seem to shake that off my memory or mine anyway. She's still a little girl today, but I still remember the day she called me mama, right? And I do know by default, human being, it's easy to pronounce mama than papa, right? That gives me a point. But if I were to jog through my memories, that memories will always make me smile, no matter how much time it passed. And it really helps a lot, especially when she is now a 3 years old annoying little girl. Yes, I'm saying it. I'm calling it. She can be a little annoying at this age. But I always try my best to jog into that part of memory so that I can keep my cool. I always remember to the point where she called me mama for the very first time and then she gave me that one particular smile. It always soothed my heart, even though at that particular moment I really just want to scream at her. Smiley face. But being a little girl, I'm pretty sure she don't understand. So it is up to me to find ways to always remind myself of that good memories so that I don't go overboard in the parenting part of it. That is one thing I'd like to share. In conjunction of our dear host's birthday, I'm very sure too her parents thinks about her all the time.
That all? Think that is all. Thank you very much, Honey. I hope that little girl is proud of who you are today. Without further ado, let's have Rosanna share and answer the same question. Rosanna, over to you.
Today is 2025, and I'll bring you back to 1986 when I was 5 years old. One of my happiest childhood memories, which I smile when I think about it, was when my father brought the whole family to Disneyland in America. It was during the fasting month. At that time, Brunei had the whole month off. There was no school, and he decided to take us on vacation. And what made it even more memorable, it wasn't just about the my immediate family going, but it was also we had another uncle and his family joining us. and another aunt and her family joining us. So there was a big entourage going to Disneyland. And what I like the most about that memory was, I think, well, being with my parents and my family. But really, when they say like Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, there's a lot of truth behind that. Even Honey, at an older age, when she went to Disneyland, she also agrees with this statement. I remember that my dad was afraid of going on roller coasters. So he would volunteer to take care of all the small children, which includes me, who are not able to go on the roller coaster. So we would wait outside the rides with him while my mother, who was very courageous, would attack that roller coaster, the haunted house, and God knows how many rides they went in. That's the first thing that I really loved about that is I get to spend time with my dad. Then the second thing was that I he bought us little Disney toys, soft toys particularly, and regretfully, I was not very good at keeping things. I had a tendency to lose things. And even though I had bought one soft toy and I lost, he actually bought me another one despite losing it. So I'm really grateful for that. And the last part of this great memory is after going to Disneyland is he took us to Hawaii. So this whole entourage went from Disneyland to Hawaii, and I celebrated my sixth birthday on the aeroplane. I got a cake taken out by the air stewardess, and they sang happy birthday for me. It was a chocolate cake, not very big. And then when we landed in Hawaii at the hotel, we had another birthday cake as well for me. And I still remember vividly that it was a round table where the cake was sitting on, and the cake was white in color. The the hotel that we were in had a balcony, and the door was wide open because it's Hawaii and it's really sunny. It's for sunny. It was really sunny and beautiful day out, beautiful view. You can see the beach from where we were staying, and the curtains were billowing in the winds. And there I was with my other cousins standing in front of my cake, and they all sang me happy birthday. Unfortunately, the happy birthday had a slightly sick twist to it because because my cousin said that I was born as a monkey in the zoo as part of the birthday song. That totally upset me, and I ran behind the curtain to hide. I ran behind the curtain to hide and cry my eyes out on my sixth birthday. But nevertheless, when I look back on what had happened that day, it's funny. It's just really funny. You know, how I reacted and the series of events that happened. I just can't forget that holiday that we went to as a family to the States and to Hawaii. I think that's one of the best memories of my life, even though now I'm 45 years old.
Wow. Disneyland at the age of 6, I believe. Was it, Rosanna?
Five, yeah, five going to six.
5 to 6. I was not able, personally, I was not able to go to Disneyland until I was 15. And I was just a plus one to my family to go to Hong Kong Disneyland. And to be quite frank, I didn't really had a good time myself because 15, the magic has died down a little. But of course, I still want to be the Disney princess I always wanted to be. If you want to know, my favorite Disney princess is Snow White. Because she has fair skin like me. I'm kidding, I'm kidding. And of course, to think that I think the cake, I imagining the cake from your description. Oh my God, it's already making me hungry. I just want to go grab my birthday cake right now and just eat it myself too, like right here on camera. But I can't do that. I can't move. I have to host this podcast. But speaking of happy childhood memories, let me ask you this, Rosanna. How do your happiest childhood memories influence the way you seek joy today?
Hmm. I think primarily, right, starting with a story on Disneyland and the other things that bring me happy memories is actually what it does, it instills a certain value in me. And that and that value, which is really important to me, is the value of family. Because whenever I'm with family, that brings me so much joy. Whether it's individually with my sister or it's with my my entire siblings, just my parents, that really helped shape who I am today. So I wouldn't be anywhere without my family, honestly speaking. They have been my pillar of strength. They have been supportive in everything that I do, and they accept me for who I am because I was the baby of the family and I used to cry a lot when I was much, much younger. And thankfully, I've grown out of the crying phase, but it also helps to show that my family, at least, they also help to show the value of patience. So, from value of family, that's what my past childhood memories have taught me, and how my family have been with me. It also has taught me patience as well. So, I believe that this has been instilled in me, and I'm living those values today. Okay,
That's
I can
pretty.
still work on the patience lah. I can still work on the patience a little bit more.
I can relate to that on the impatience part. I think I'm still impatient today. I think impatience will need a lifetime to work on for me. Don't know about you, Rosanna. I don't know about you, honey, but I do want to know what is your happiest childhood memories too. So, would you like to share?
Sure. You see, when I was the little girl, we're not exactly the most, it's not the easiest family in terms of financial, because my mom comes from poor. So she had to bring herself up and had to bring the whole family up. So I went through the phase when my parents only had motorcycles, and then, moved to car, from cars, then you move to two cars. I was in that phase. And I'm happy enough that even in that phase, my mom has instilled like hope. So she always told me this, because Disney was a big thing. Not like we're promoting Disney, just FYI. But Disney is a big thing. And growing up, we watch those. It is a part of the Astro subscription, right? There's Disney. I learned a lot of English, speaking, intonation, and the right way. All of those characters in Disney, those are all the things that I watched right after school, when you complete your homework and then your parents say, hey, you go ahead and watch TV for the next 2 hours. That would be like the happiest moment of my life. To one point, my mom would say, if you get straight A's, I'll bring you to Disneyland. Like that's a like, whoa, like I would want to, and I worked really, really hard for it. And I got my straight A's, but the Disneyland never happened. When I was a lot younger, I always said, I always think, I always thought about that. And I always said to my mom, well, even if I get straight A's, it's not like you're gonna really give it to me. And she said that, well, one day you will eventually go to Disneyland. And you know what? Last year, that was my first time actually stepped into Disneyland, and with my like hard earned money. And what my mom said is really true. Eventually, you'll get there. Now, the happiest memory wasn't exactly about, yeah, it revolves around Disney, it revolves around Disneyland, but it wasn't about being able to achieve that dream. It is more because my mom put hope in it. Like, you work hard to achieve a certain dream, and it keeps me going every single time. I don't know what kind of influential power that my mom has that made me actually keep doing it, even though I know that she can't afford it. But I always have that felt in there that says, I really hope, and I wish for it to come true. So I will really work hard because I really trust what you said. And it did. It happened. It happened in a different way. So I'd say the happiest childhood memory I have today, how it influenced the way I seek joy, is that ability to keep doing it, hoping for it, keep doing it, and hoping for it again, and keep pursuing things until it happened. And when it happened, the joy is just another level. Just To let you know, like Trisha, I was the only 32 years old that stands in the line of two, 3 to 4, 5 years old little girls in front of the Disney castle waiting for the three Disney princesses for me to talk to. And I don't care. I did it anyway because my dream was finally coming true.
That's actually really good. One tip I can give you about going to Disneyland, as an adult, just own it. And maybe you can also cosplay, honey, one day. How about that? What princess do you want to cosplay?
You know what? Now I am instilling Disney love towards my daughter because one day I sure want to bring her because I want her to be able to have what the rest of you do have. Rosanna, Latricia, going to Disneyland at the age where you would actually be able to enjoy them fully. That is my mission now to be able to bring my daughter to one and the one in Anaheim. Um, and she's obsessed with Snow White, and she also know Princess Jasmine sounds like her name. So I'm taking that opportunity to dress up like one of them eventually when my daughter wants to. I'm using her as a reason to do that. But I'll be Mulan. Mulan will be my favorite.
That's actually, hmm. And maybe your husband can be the prince. What's his name? I forgot his
Adam?
name. No, I meant Mulan's husband. What was his name?
Shang?
Yeah, Shen. I
Yeah.
think I think everyone had a crush on Shen, right? When we were younger.
I was the
Rosanna, who was
only
your crush? Do you
prince,
have
right?
any Disney crush? No Disney crush. She does not need a prince, do not
I
worry.
I can't remember. I might have been the prince who was with Sleeping Beauty.
With Sleeping Beauty.
Oh yeah,
Was
he
it
has the
because
most he has the
uh-huh.
most lines in Disney stories, right?
Right.
Because
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and he sang with her as well. I know you. Na, na, na,
I walk with you
na.
once upon a
Yeah,
dream.
that one. That's why. Yeah, probably that's the reason.
I thought it was because he was showing the masculinity in slaying the dragon.
No, I didn't think about that at all. Conversation is very important. Okay.
But of course, Disney, right? It's all about fulfilling a kid's dream, right? It's all about making your wishes come true by wishing upon a star. I got that from Disney Princess and the Frog, wishing upon a star, hoping that the wish will come true. But of course, every child, you have your own dream. So what's that one childhood dream that you have perhaps fulfilled, or one that you still hope to till this day? Who would like to start first?
I can go first.
Okay.
So around the same age of 5 years old, so that was when I was in kindergarten, right? And already somehow or other, I don't know why we force ambition so early in young people, and we say, "So what do you want to be when you grow up?" I'm not sure why this is so important, but anyway, so what did I want to be when I grew up? There were two things playing in the back of my head. Number one was being a teacher, and number two was probably being a doctor. Okay, so it's like very typical careers, right?
Rosanna? Okay. I think she kind of
Older.
froze.
As
Okay,
I
you're
grew,
back.
so okay, so as I grew older, I had the opportunity to choose subjects for my A levels, and that actually deep down inside, I wanted to fulfill that dream of becoming a doctor, but I knew that I'm not the best science student to be able to achieve that. Even like during my O levels, I didn't really take full sciences.
Makes me wonder if she's a science student or an art student. Uh,
But but I really 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 wanted to become a dentist. I have no idea why. I have this obsession about becoming a dentist. Okay. Fast forward some more. Yeah, I don't know my internet. So
Okay, I
Oh,
can fill in.
okay. Okay. So, wanted to fulfill my dream of becoming a dentist, but it didn't happen because I didn't have the courage. Now, at this age where I'm in my mid 40s, and you start thinking and contemplating about where are you going to be headed when you're 60 for some reason, because you know that retirement age is 60 here, at least in Brunei. And after taking care of my elderly parents who are very ill, I decided to plunge into the a health field, health related field. So, it was just, I guess, the reason why we ask young people what do they want to be when they grow up is, I think, we're just literally planting seeds. But I think it should be seeds of possibility or seeds of opportunity rather than decisiveness of that absolute career of what you want to become. But at least, like, it's just basically opening doors and pathways more often. So it was only in my 40s that I decided that I wanted to venture into a health career. So I decided to take a certification in personal training because I thought that there was no one there to help my parents. I could have been in a better position to physically help my parents, but I was not. And so if I can't help them, I was not in a position to help them until the day they died, then I'm going to help other people. So I embarked on that health journey of trying to get certified to become a personal trainer. And then eventually, as things went along, I got introduced to becoming a breath coach. And I went ahead with the course and I got certified as a breathing coach. So I teach people how to breathe. You either learn how to breathe better functionally for your daily breath, or you either breathe for therapy reasons. There are these two reasons why, or you can even breathe to improve your performance when you're an athlete. Okay, so there are various reasons why people want to improve their breathing. And this also then is the door of wellness and health. So even though that I didn't fulfill my dream as a doctor and as a teacher per se, I am now living that dream because even though I'm not, I've gone into like a health related field and I get to teach people. I get to teach elderly people. I have two clients now who's 72 and 66, and I'm teaching them to be stronger in terms of their physical fitness and that they can have a long life in terms of mobility and strength as they grow older and still be independent when they grow old. That would be the intention. And as a teacher, I get to teach people how to breathe more effectively and help them transform their lives. So not really a direct translation of what did I want to be when I grew up, that ambition, but at least I feel like I've arrived, and this is so much more fulfilling. If I had listened to my voice earlier on that this is what I wanted to do, then I think I would have been fulfilled earlier. However, such is life, this is the journey, and I'm glad that I got there eventually.
You, Rosanna, that was really from a teacher to a doctor, if a dentist, and then a breathing kind of instructor, right?
Yeah, yeah,
I can get the athlete part because as a child, I do not like PE. I always want to skip PE when I was a child. And because for some reason, whenever I have to run, like those warm-up exercises where the PE teacher would tell us to run a few laps around the field or some kind of track, I do not like those. And
yeah.
for some reason, I will always have short breath because I am not used to running, not used to exercising. I'm more used to eating as a child because I love food. You should see my old pictures. Maybe I can send them to send you guys some. I was I was really chubby. I was really chubby. And back then, I didn't care what I ate. So going back to the running and being short of breath, I really don't like running. And knowing that there are actually people you can pay out there to actually like teach you how to breathe, that's really interesting. I haven't heard about this before. How about you, honey? What's your childhood dream?
Okay. So I'm with you though, like Trisha, I hate running, but I do enjoy walking now. I mean, if you talk about walking in New York City, the ground of Paris or Disneyland, I'd walk triple times more than I walk today. Okay, but jokes aside, um, the you see, like you have a lot of dreams when you're young, right? But it's funny how life turns out because from a very young age, I knew I want to live abroad. I don't have a specific place. I just want to live abroad. Now, while every little girl's dreams of going to Paris, I never seemed to be attracted to Paris. I've always been attracted and drawn to New York. But I did. I finally went to New York about 2 years ago, and unfortunately, my childhood dream shattered because New York on TV is not New York in person. Luckily, on TV, you cannot smell how New York smells like. And New York, for real, had a more, well, let's just say that I smelled better back in my country. But that's the thing, right? I've always known I wanted to live abroad, and I tried my best to do that. I've tried scouting for jobs, even all the way to Brunei. Never had any linkage to be able to hook me to any of these locations. I've tried 1001 way, and no matter what, and no matter how much I try, or my spouse tries, it always leads us back to Kuching. And it always leads us back to here. And now we started a shop. It seems like that dream may or may not come true. Now, I don't know what life pans out for me. At one point, it gets pretty depressing. But now I try to look at it on a different perspective, not to try to feel nostalgic here, but at least I don't get to only stay in one location. I get to go abroad more frequent, even if I don't get to stay there. So now I try to see whether there are not to say job opportunities, but business opportunities that allows me to be there and here at the very same time. At this age, I realize perhaps maybe God has destined for me to do something in return for my country. And I'm happy to do that. At the very same time as well, God also give me brain and hands and mind to think. And I will use that opportunity as well to see whether if I could always visit countries outside. So which is why every year you will see me flying here and there because I always feel like I'm a free bird. The longer I stay in one location, I will feel caged. So I will try my best every 3 months or so to fly somewhere, places that I've never seen before or places that I've been before, but I'll try to explore different perspective of it, different parts of it, so that I can keep myself sane. So this may not be a good ending to this story, but it is also all about maturity and acceptance. Yeah.
Very funny. I kind of had the same dream as you, honey. I want to travel the world, but then it kind of sounds like a retirement plan now. Knowing my life situation right now. Uh, Before, let me just say that my dream was to become a teacher too. But I only said that because I want the teacher to like me. I want to be that charming little girl who the teacher would love to teach. I always have been like that until now. And of course, I had tons of dreams. I keep changing my mind from teacher to lawyer to a princess. I thought princess was honestly a career path that I can choose, which is funny. And there was one point where I watched a Singaporean movie called Aboy to Men. And that was when I want to become a female soldier. So as you can see, I'm very influenced, easily influenced, so to say. But now, I can say that I like where I am now, though I am still trying to find my place in this world because I barely survived college, and I hope I can find my place in the world just like the both of you. But of course, our experiences shape us, and sometimes certain traditions, objects, or belief remain a constant in our lives, reminding us of where we came from, whether it's a family ritual, a childhood keepsake, or a guiding principle. These connections to the past can be powerful. So, to show something, my my childhood object is actually one of these antique music boxes. Yeah, let me just put it in the camera. Yeah, antique music boxes. I got this with from my mom when I was maybe like 4 or 5, where somehow my parents thought, let's take this kid traveling where she won't remember anything at all. They won't wait till I'm older where I can actually cherish the memories more. But this is one of the memories that I can definitely remember. It was my trip to Singapore with my mom. And there was just this pop-up store where this was actually handmade, I think, handmade, because yeah, the designs aren't that I can see it's handmade, but I've kept this since I was a little girl until now, and this is like one of my precious objects. Other than my hundreds of plushies that I had as a child. And actually, I would like to ask a guest this question, if I can have maybe Philip. Philip, are you there?
Yeah,
Hi, Philip. Welcome to Vivid Voices podcast. How are you today?
yeah, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight. Now, I have a question for you. Is there something from your past, be it a tradition, an object, or a belief, that you still hold on to, and why?
I
Take your
used
time to
to
think.
believe, I used to believe that riding bicycle at night is is actually unsafe for me up to this day because I used to believe from my grandparents that when I walk late at night alone or using bicycle or driving late at night, there will be a ghost who's following me from behind. And it has been embedded in my brain and it used to be a strong belief in me because I now believe in ghosts. I have been believing in ghosts for many years since I was a kid, and I try to avoid going out late at night because of this belief. Yeah.
Talking about ghosts, I had one ghost encounter. Do you know that? Do you believe more in ghosts now? But thank you for sharing that uh, short story. I do believe in ghosts too. I have tons of podcasts I been like listening to about ghost stories, and most of them are actually Malaysian or Singaporean. They have the most wonderful ghost stories, and it's always Asian ghost stories for some reason. Maybe it's because it's more scarier. Who knows? But anyways, moving on from ghosts, uh, can I have honey? Honey, honey.
Yeah, yeah, I'm right here.
May I ask you, have you have a perception of a past experience where you've grown older?
You mean to say, how has my past experience changed?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. I'm pretty sure as I grow older, maturity comes in. I started to accept some parts of dreams that Sometimes it's good to remain it as a dream. For example, I've always wanted to be an astronaut or a singer. I actually have that. Teachers when you were younger, they will ask you what are the three occupation you wish to be when you grow up, and there are three things that is constantly on my list. Number one being an astronaut, number two being a singer, number three being doctor slash lawyer. Because that's a typical Asian answer to almost everything. If you don't put it there, your parents probably will scold you, right? That's probably what I have in mind. But the first two are always my biggest interest. I've always been so interested in news about NASA. I'm obsessed with Elon Musk at one point because he started his own, you know, rocket ship. It's one of those dreams that as you grow older, then you realize these are most likely not for you. Like for example, I know today I'm a people person, so I cannot imagine sitting behind machines, you know, solving codes. I don't think I'll be happy. So in that sense, that dream would be better to remain as a dream. I'll be happier for it to be a dream, right? There are also acceptance where I'm not tall enough to be an astronaut. I tried to look for the minimum requirement. I cannot even what do you call that? I'm not even qualified to be a regular pilot because of my regular height. In the government of Malaysia, you can apply for those jobs. Certain jobs require you to be at least a minimum of 152 or 157 cm in the government of Malaysia. Some of the jobs, especially those uniform unit. I'm not even 157 for that matter. So there are a lot of jobs out there. I'm restricted by my height, but I'm truly accepting that. And it's not really a big deal because I do know that I'm strong somewhere else. There are also things like singing. Well, I tried this one out. This one, I wasn't entirely giving up on it yet. I would tell you that. You pass me the microphone, I'll be happy to either speak or sing to it. But I also know that to make singing as my career is something that I learn may be stressful. Like I enjoy singing for fun. I like doing it for fun. And I like to make people feel shocked when they realize that, oh, she can do more than just public speaking. That's pretty, that's enjoyable. But to make it as a full career, I cannot imagine being able to raise my daughter or date my husband as much as all these celebrities has all eyes on them. I just cannot imagine that will be my life. And sometimes it is really for the better. So yeah, that's how I believed my perception of um, you know, past experience has changed me as I grow older. This experience has built up for me to be so confident about who I am today, what I can do today, that sometimes those dreams better remains as dreams. So at least I have, when I close my eye and dream starts forming, there are something there, rather than like pondering what could have been.
And until today, I kind of am still waiting for that prince to just sweep me off my feet from my dreams. Come knocking in my door and be like, I'm ready to take you as my wife. I have a full palace. I'll take care of you. You have nothing to worry about. But alas, that's just still a dream. And I can totally relate to you with that. Rosanna, what do you think about this?
About a prince sweeping you off your feet? No, I was just thinking, right? I used to have the same thought, but eventually, as you get older, it's called adulting, and you end up not doing the things that you like to do, but you don't have a choice because it's part of being an adult.
But adults still can dream.
You can, yes, you can.
Who knows? 1 in a million chance, right? It's not impossible.
This
So for
is
all the princes out there, I'm,
a bit late for me, but for you, still got time. So how is like past my past experience, how do I see things, like the perception of my past experience, right? So the other day I was having a conversation with a health coach because I'm having some issues which I need help with. And my health coach asked me a question, and she says, because I told her that one of the difficulties that I have at this point in time due to hormonal imbalances is about losing weight. And so she asked me this question, which triggered me, which is very interesting. And she said, how was your weight like when you were a child? And this concept or this perception about weight only came to my attention when I was 12 years old. Prior to that, there's no notion of a weighing scale. It's either they pinch your cheeks, ooh, you're so cute, or wow, how well you've grown. But I was introduced to the weighing scale at the age of 12 years old in a maths class because the teacher was teaching us about measurements, and weight was one of those measurements. We were asked to weigh ourselves and write our weight on the board. I think a very innocent exercise, which turned not so great for me because I ended up being the heaviest person in my class at 12 years old. And everybody was talking about it and laughing about it. And I only saw it as a number. To me, it was just a number, but everyone saw it as something else, like a confirmation whereby, wow, she's big and she doesn't realize it, or she's heavy and she doesn't know it. And then from that point on, that's when I realized that something is wrong about being a certain weight. And and I would say that that affected my self-esteem for the longest time, even when I was a teenager, even into adulthood. Even Honey cannot understand why I have this self-esteem issue from a very young age, because if you look at me like on the outset, if you know me and you interacted with me and we had conversations together, you know my career and all those things, you're like thinking this is not possible for a girl with self-esteem issues. But the reality is that I'm always plagued with these voices in my mind telling me that I'm never good enough. Always. And I hate it. But sometimes the voices in your head is so darn loud, it's really hard to shut it out. So the beauty about getting older and the beauty about having awareness, which is very key about anything, about looking back into what had happened in the past, is that that was a situation in which didn't have to define me. But at that point, I made a choice for it to define me. But now, as I'm older and I look back and I thought, well, okay, that happened. What's most importantly is, what am I going to do about it now? What choices am I willing to make? What changes do I want in my own life and how I perceive myself? And so that's where the work begins, right? So the past may have defined me, but now I just view it as it was a past event that affected me because I allowed it to affect me because I didn't know how to handle it. Here I am today with more awareness, more consciousness, and realize that that past didn't have to define who I am right now, and that I am capable, and everyone is capable of creating a future that they want. You just have to separate ourselves from what had happened at that point in time.
That hit really deep with me because I was also the heaviest girl in my class. And I couldn't fathom how judgmental my classmates were because most of the girls in my class were all like normal to underweight, actually. So I don't know if whether the parents are feeding them enough or whether they choose to be on a diet at such a young age. My self-esteem was also pretty down. But I'm glad that you don't let other people define who you are today. And you have definitely chosen wisely, Rosanna. And I stand
You
for you on
can. You can too.
that. um, not there yet, but maybe soon. Maybe soon. But other than the lessons that we learn from our past experiences, is there a lesson that you actually carry with you every day from your past, Rosanna?
Hmm. It'd probably be linked to being your authentic self. And I know that we had a podcast conversation on this a couple of episodes ago. And so I was in a relationship with a guy who was 7 years older than me. And we were at a movie, and I don't know. I think it's my quirky sense of humor. So it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie in the UK. And obviously he's American. Everything is an American plot. And funny enough, all these one-liners that he was making, I was cracking up. And I was the only one in the cinema cracking up. And there he was like elbowing me to shut up, you know. And I was like thinking, but it's funny. Why should I shut up if I'm the one who finds it entertaining? But nevertheless, because he's 7 years older than me and I was quite young at that time, I think I was like 18 or 19. So he was like in his mid 20s. So I thought, okay, I'll just listen because, well, I guess I'm compliant that way. But but when we eventually broke up, right, there was, I took a step back, and I'm glad that it didn't work out in the end, because if it worked out as in like we actually like got married, it would have been a pain for me because I wouldn't have been allowed to be my authentic self. I would have to attune to how worried he is, how people perceive me. I would have to carry myself differently. I would have to make sure that he's not being judged rather than not me being judged, and so on and so forth. So something that I still hold on to is about trying to be as authentic as possible, being true to who I am in terms of my character. Because I'm actually quite quirky, and I think I mentioned this in a couple of podcasts before. I'm a really quirky character. It's like I may appear normal, but there are some nuances about me which makes me seem odd. And I'm operating in a world whereby people behave normally. I can't describe to you those quirky behaviors, but some of it, it's just like, people looking at you like, are you sure you're like in your 40s? And I'm like, yeah, pretty much. I don't have to behave like an old person. And then people will say like, oh gosh, you're always so happy. Why are you so happy? And I'm like, why not? I make a choice to be happy. So be yourself. I mean, it's so ironic. Like we say like, be yourself. Like, can you just be yourself? It's such a difficult thing to do. But that's something that I will hold on to. It's like, I'm not going to be held back by somebody who wants me to be of a certain behavior. Hmm. Yeah. That's a lesson that I've carried with me since I was a teenager.
That is such a mature thing to do at 18 or 19, I think. To be your true self. When I was 18 or 19, now I sound like I'm old. I'm not, guys, trust me. I'm not that old. But like when I was 18 or 19, I was still trying to be a people pleaser. I was still trying to be like fit in, right? But then at the same time, I have my anger. But anyways, honey, what about you? What is something, that you carry with you every day from your past? A lesson, if you will.
I'll I'll put it in a way that, because Letitia always compares herself into, when she was not too young, not too long ago young. So Letitia, I'm actually one of those who got out really, really late. My family are very protective of me, so I don't get to hang out with friends even only after I get out of the house and started to go to college. Then I started exploring the fact that I am my own individual. When I was up until I was 12, 13, 14, I don't even dare to order anything that my mom wouldn't order, like I don't know how to say, because my mom's template of ordering is mi goreng, right? And ice Milo, right? There we go. That will be like the template. I don't dare to order anything outside of that, even though by 12 or 13 I already have an interest of like, I wonder how teh tarik tastes like. I wonder how iced lemon tea tastes like. But I just don't dare to say it because it's just not how my family works. We are spoon fed up until the very last minute of it. I only stopped drinking from bottle, and I dare to say this, okay? When I was 12 years old. Yeah. Exclusives, right? I don't share this to people, but for Latricia's birthday, I'll share. You see, the thing is, my mom and my dad, they love us so much that I think it's hard for them to understand that we grow up. I realize that something is wrong. It is impossible that I don't know how to order and things like that. So when I turned 15, 16, like when those part of your life when you realize you have already grown into a lady, then you realize that there are more to life than just mee goreng and ice Milo. You gotta be able to order. So I think I fully explored after I turned 23, 24, up to where I started my first job. And I can tell you, I'm still feeding to that all the years that I've missed. So today, I made sure that my daughter grows in a way that I try my best to follow, like regular human schedule, try to give her the autonomy of ordering things. Like I asked her, are you hungry? Because I don't even know when I was hungry because all I know is my mom said, finish this, I finish this. So even if I am full, I don't have a say in it. I have terrible relationship with food. Now it might sound like I am trying to villainize my mom. I'm not. I really do truly appreciate it. She didn't have a choice. You see, she was like poor, city poor when you don't have any food and you have to scout in the jungle you can find on the ground to find those potatoes. She was that level of poor. She had to feed her 7 other siblings and parents. So it wasn't easy for her. And it is a custom for her to raise us in a way that we are kids. We are forever her babies. See, I appreciate what she did, but I also learned from that is um, every human being also has their own unique identity, and they have very unique identity from a very young age. And different part of your life, you will have different types of identity throughout. So, Latricia, today you are, a long time ago you were a teenager, different person, and then you became a young adult. You will become a totally different person, and then like in a couple of years, you're gonna be a different person. So no matter how you feel today, the you today may not entirely define the you next time. You're a work in progress. I'm still a work in progress. I'm 33, but there's so many things in the world I've not seen. And I really am excited to explore all that. That goes to my dear sister Rosanna over there too. It's not, it's not too late for you for honestly anything. And it's not too late. See, she's starting her breathing journey, breathing coaching journey. Never too late. It's a different phase of your life. I hope that golden nuggets give you something back.
Thank you for that advice, honey. I really do appreciate that actually. It's like different versions of me and it's a work in progress. I like that. I like the ring to it actually. But what I can say it stays consistent. Like if I were to have to share a lesson from the past that I carry with me every day, is that okay, I think by now people who know me, I'm a very vengeful spirit. Because I've been looked down upon, I've been stepped on, I've been bullied before, even had experienced racism in my school when I was in the city specifically. So I always wanted to always somehow get revenge on the people who did that to me. But I've eventually learned that karma does exist. And I'm not talking about my favorite anime character, Karma Akabane from Assassination Classroom. Though I wish my classroom was assassin trained. I would love to be assassin trained, but that's besides the point. Um, Karma always has a way to hit those people back in at the back, so to say, stab, whatever, And because of that, I learned the way of waiting, the waiting game, because eventually it'll come back to them, right? Uh, you don't have to worry about wronging me, guys. If you ever wrong me, I am more forgiving now. I am more forgiving now. Don't worry. Vengeful spirit still, but as Honey said, a work in progress. But anyways, it is easy to overlook the things that feels consistent in our lives until experience or change teaches us their true worth. Like what I said about having revenge, right? Like it's always consistent, but eventually I have to learn to like try to forgive and forget. Though it's really hard, but I'm still trying. And sometimes it's like a person, a place, or even a simple routine that we once assumed would always be there. So I have another question for another guest. Would maybe Sue would like to try?
Okay, make it easy.
Relax, relax. It's a safe space. We're just four girls chatting, having a cup of tea in the middle of the night. I'm kidding. Not in the middle of the night, but like supper. So my question for you is, what's something you used to take for granted but now cherish?
Um, Probably time. But I mean, once I have my kids, and then I find that time is very, very important, especially personal time. Because when I was younger, I have the fun and I do my homework and all that. And then when I was teenagers, I also use time properly, but also have fun. But then when it comes to having children, I spent a lot of time doing housework, taking care of them for almost 8 years. And during that time, I sacrificed most of my time for my children. And then I realized that time, my personal time is very, very important. So I really cherish my personal time. So whenever I have free time or anything that I really enjoy doing or I want to do, I will try to spend as much time as possible to do the things that I like and I want for myself. So even now, um, whenever I have times, I also try to use it and then do things that I want that make me happy or make me feel very valuable. I mean, make myself more value. So for me, personal time is something that I really cherish a lot.
Thank you,
I think that's
Sue.
all
And
for
I
me.
totally agree with that. And I think the ladies here would also agree with that, right, ladies? If I were to answer that question myself, it would be money. And I think everyone would agree here. I was a kid who could spend whatever I want. Basically, that's how I have mountains of plushies still in my house, but locked in the storage room. Because I always find comfort in plushies. But now I know the value of money more, and I am saving and spending more wisely now. So thank you, Sue, for answering that question. And I would like to go back to Honey.
Yeah, sure.
Honey, in what ways do you hope experiences and memories will define you?
You see, this is the one question that I probably have no answer to because for the many years that I've lived, all these experiences has brought me to countless of places that I never thought I could and never thought I would. And in fact, it brought me to places I never thought I'd even reach. I am at this point, I truly believe in following where the flow goes. And when you are there in the position that you're in, well, for whatever position it is, we try to do our best to either complete the role, do the whatever responsibility is given to you, because that will eventually shape how the future looks like next. I I am an architecture graduate, but up to today, I'm not an architect. It, I also discovered that I have other potentials. A long time ago, I said I don't want kids. But now that I have a daughter, I never thought I could be the kind of mother who, I have to fly to one location in the morning. I really want to rush back home at night because I just needed to give that one big hug. I've always thought that a long time ago, I always thought that I will leave my daughter behind when I go traveling because that's what like my parents' generation of people would have done. But surprisingly, I decided that nope, I'm not gonna leave her behind. I'm bringing her wherever I go because I think whatever I experience, she needs to experience too. See, it's really the kind of thing that I never thought I would decide that way. I don't have an answer for this. And I think there shouldn't be an answer for this because that's what life is all about, isn't it? If you know every single answer, then that's a boring life. So I'm actually more looking forward to see how it pans out in the next few years. And learning to accept whatever happens in between would be one of the challenges that I believe would be for me. I just hope that by the time the challenge comes, I'll be strong enough to go through it, good or bad. Yeah.
Thank you, honey. And it's okay if you do not have an answer, as long as you have a good reason, right? Yeah. And that is certainly a really good reason. But how about you, Rosanna?
I'm
Same
with
thing?
Honey. I'm with Honey on this one. I don't have a specific response to it. My only 2 cents probably would be is that what lessons are you willing to learn from all your experiences and memories that you've gone through, and how do you want to make the most of it and the best of it for yourself at the end of the day? Like Honey, I my parents worked a lot and they left me at home, and so I try to spend time with my parents. Sorry, with my own children now. It's still difficult to do because I'm also now following their footsteps of being a working parent, so it's quite a challenge. And then there was a lot of not great things that happened in my life, as it should be, because life is ups and downs anyway. So it's just a matter of like how do you see yourself at that point? What did you learn from it? And then how can you apply it in future instances? I think one of the misconceptions that we have is that in order to have a happy life, nothing should go wrong. But in reality, in order to have a happy and successful life, it is inevitable that you will go through the downs. And that I nowadays, like, I say to myself that the difficulty is only temporary. I just have to get through this. There's nothing that I cannot bear. I'm sure that I can go through this challenge right now. If I've done it before, I'll do it again. So really, it's just a matter of like, what lesson do you want to gain from it, and just try to make it to a better version of you.
Awesome. I totally agree with both of you. And again, you don't really have to have an answer if you do not have an answer to the question. There's no obligation for you to answer in the first place. All I needed was your perspective. And like I said, this is a conversation between two women and one upcoming lady. But I have one final question before we wrap up this podcast. And my final question to both of you is, do you think our childhood selves, the little girls that we were before, would be proud of who we've become today?
I can straight on answer you that. The childhood version of me would be extremely proud and probably questioning what on earth am I doing. But I'm pretty sure that a girl who was born in Limbang that wouldn't have known better would have never thought this one person would have become a GM at the age of 33, an international director at the age of 33. But like these are the things I've never thought that could even happen. I never had those in my vocabulary. Yet today, I feel like the whole world is in my hand and I feel like I could shake them even if I want to. That's the most important part. Every version of little girl that has ever lived in me probably would cheer on and questions along with me throughout. That little girl though, still here, in here somewhere. And that little girl, no matter how I answered it just now, are also still always doubting. So it's never the perfect confidence. There's always that one version of little girl who is always going to doubt. With other little girl who I'm raising, that little girl questions even further.
And
It's
how about
true.
you, Rosanna?
I remember attending one of the courses that I did last time on personal development, and what they made us do at the end of every weekend, which was because the course was over a weekend. So at the end of the weekend, they would make us write a letter to ourselves. So they would say, like, okay, we're gonna post this letter to you in 6 months' time, in 1 year's time, and you have to, like, address it to yourself. So it's like, dear Rosanna, I'm so proud of you of how far you've come. Can you imagine in this short 6 months you've achieved X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and so on and so forth? So I think similarly, right, when I'm as nostalgic as tonight has been, my little girl in me is still afraid. Is still afraid of the unknown. Is still afraid of whether she can or she can't. Is still afraid of the kind of people that she's going to meet and so on and so forth. But ultimately, I think this little girl is really proud of the person that she's become today, because never, it was totally unthinkable and unimaginable at that point in time how far one can achieve if they just took one step at a time. If they just believed in themselves just that for the short moment. And it's going to open a different topic, but primarily it's like I also want to thank the people who believed in me, because I wouldn't have been able to be where I am today, or the little girl wouldn't have been able to come this far without all the support of the people who really believed in what I was capable of doing. So I want to say my deepest appreciation to everyone who supported this little girl in coming this far. And I hope that you'll still be on my journey as I continue to venture into the world of the unknown.
That is so cute. Oh my God. Both of you are adorable. Okay, my Gen Z is already coming out. My Gen Z is already coming out. But no matter what, if your little girl or the you now is probably either questioning yourself or having fear of the unexpected. Life is a collection of moments, some fleeting, some etched deep into our souls. Our memories and nostalgia are more than just reflections of the past. They are the silent architects of who we are today. Architect Hani. They remind us of the joys we've cherished, the lessons we've learned, and the growth we've experienced. By celebrating these echoes of our past, we don't just relive them, we honor them. They shape our values, influence our choices, and remind us the beauty in our journey. Whether it's a childhood dream that still inspires us or a simple moment that changed our perspective, every memory carries a story worth telling. So, as we embrace nostalgia, and become nostalgic tonight. Let's use it not just to look back, but to move forward with gratitude, wisdom, and an appreciation for the life we continue to build. Because in the end, our memories aren't just remnants of the past. They are the foundation of who we are and who we're becoming. Here's to celebrating life, cherishing the past, and stepping into the future with open hearts. And that is how I will end tonight's podcast.